We all have a common fear. It's the fear of time and aging. No one has yet found a device or a way to escape it. As the darkness approaches us with time, only the inevitable awaits us: death. But in a world like this, there are some bright spots, and in the place where it is least expected. It's the oceans. While the oceans ripple, the wind blows, the sun illuminates all that nature, we glimpse a being that defies time and aging. While he's recklessly carried by the waves, he wanders around these areas without any worries. It sounds really unbelievable. Imagine finding a way to stay young forever. But is it actually a gift or a curse? Although the oceans are very poorly explored, perhaps we can still find some answers in its dark depths. Exploring the myth. Are jellyfish truly immortal? When we mention immortality, the first thing that comes to mind, apart from some series about vampires and werewolves, are jellyfish. And with good reason. For many years, some types of these jellyfish have been considered immortal, and for a very unusual reason. After this discovery, none of the scientists could believe what was actually happening here, because this is a unique process in nature that does not exist in any other animal. In order for you to understand this a little better, we'll first explain what a jellyfish actually is. The majority of jellyfish are free-swimming marine creatures with tentacles that trail after them and bells that resemble umbrellas. However, others are fixed to the seabed by stalks. To produce momentum for incredibly effective movement, the bell can pulse. Because the tentacles have stinging cells attached to them, they may be utilized to both protect against predators and catch prey. A jellyfish's life cycle is complex. Normally, the sexual phase, the medusa, produces planular larvae. Following that, they become widely distributed and go through a sedentary polyp phase until they achieve sexual maturity. In certain cultures, humans consume jellyfish. Some Asian nations view them as delicacies, pressing and salting Rhizostomiae species to eliminate excess moisture. They are considered a perfect food by Australian researchers since they are high in protein and sustainable, yet they have a low calorie content. The green fluorescent protein that certain animals use to produce bioluminescence has been modified for use as a fluorescent marker for genes put into other cells or creatures, and this is another application for them in study. Humans may be hurt by the stinging cells that jellyfish deploy to immobilize their prey. Every year, thousands of swimmers around the world suffer from stings that can cause everything from a little pain to severe injuries or even death. When the conditions are right, large swarms of jellyfish can form. These swarms can jam the cooling systems of power and desalinization facilities that use seawater, as well as cause damage to fishing gear by filling fishing nets. The majority of jellyfish lack a central nervous system, as well as specific respiratory, circulatory, and osmoregulation systems. The sting-delivering nematocysts are mostly found on the tentacles. They are also present surrounding the mouth and stomach of true jellyfish. A respiratory apparatus is not necessary for jellyfish since enough oxygen is absorbed via the epidermis. They can move with some degree of control, yet they are able to adapt to the bell-like body's pulsations. While some species mostly float, others are vigorous swimmers most of the time. The jellyfish Turritopsis dohrnii is the only species that has been referred to as biologically immortal thus far. These tiny, translucent creatures inhabit the world's waters and have the ability to go back in time to a previous phase of their life cycle. A fertilized egg gives rise to a larval stage known as a planula, which marks the beginning of a new jellyfish life. Following a brief swim, the planula attaches itself to a surface, such as a rock, the ocean bottom, or the hull of a boat, where it grows into a polyp, which is a tube-shaped structure with a mouth at one end and a foot-like structure at the other. It grows into a small colony of polyps that share feeding tubes with one another, while being fixed in place for a while. Depending on the type of jellyfish, one of these polyps will eventually grow into a protrusion known as a bud, or it may create individual segments that are layered on top of one another and have the ability to split out from the colony. The Ephira, or little jellyfish, and the Medusa, or fully formed adult stage capable of sexual reproduction, are the following phases of the jellyfish life cycle, and they are formed via this method of reproduction. This stage is the end of the line for the majority of other jellyfish. However, Turritopsis dohrnii, and perhaps some other species of jellyfish as well, has a clever trick up their sleeves. It can return to being a little blob of tissue in response to environmental stresses like starvation or injury, which then transforms back into the sexually immature polyp phase of life. It's comparable to a butterfly changing back into a caterpillar, or a frog changing back into a tadpole again. Or imagine a fully grown human changing back into being a baby. It accomplishes this by changing the differentiated status of the cells and converting them into new cell types through the process of transdifferentiation in cell development. Naturally, Turritopsis dohrnii isn't actually immortal. Predators may still eat them or find another way to kill them. However, they might theoretically live forever due to their capacity to alternate between different life phases in reaction to stress. The medusa of Turritopsis dohrnii is bell-shaped, that is roughly as tall as it is wide, with a maximum diameter of 4.5 millimeters. The mesoglia within the bell's walls is consistently thin, with the exception of a little thickening around the apex. The comparatively big stomach has a cross-sectional shape of a cruciform and is bright red. Adult specimens have 80 to 90 tentacles, but young specimens with a diameter of 1 millimeter only have 8 tentacles equally scattered around the edge. The medusa inhabits the plankton freely. The cap's epidermis has dense nerve net cells as well. They aggregate to create a large ring-shaped structure above the radial canal that is often seen in cnidarians. In addition, Turritopsis dohrnii possesses an upright branch with feeding polyps that can develop medusa buds and stolons that travel over the substrate, known as the hydroid form of bottom-living polyps. After a few days, these polyps mature into small 1 millimeter medusae, which are reduced from the parent hydroid colony and float freely. It is thought that Turritopsis originated in the Pacific, but trans-Arctic migrations carried it all over the world. It speciated into a number of populations that are easily distinguished morphologically, but whose species distinctions have recently been confirmed through a comparison and analysis of mitochondrial ribosomal gene sequences. All of the world's waters include Turritopsis, which are found in temperate to tropical locations. Worldwide distribution of Turritopsis is thought to occur through ballast water discharge. Because of their small size and innocuity, T. dohrnii's invasion of the planet went unreported, in contrast to past species invasions that had catastrophic ecological and economic effects. Scientist Dr. Maria Miglietta of the Smithsonian Tropical Marine Institute stated, "We are looking at a worldwide silent invasion." We saw in this video how some animals fared better than others, where they theoretically even became immortal. The question that comes out now is the following. If this could happen to people, to become immortal, do you think it would be a gift or a curse? It's up to you to decide. Of course, it hasn't come to that yet, but you never know what time will bring and what we can discover in the future with the support and help of these incredible water creatures. If you like this video and want more content like this, hit the like and subscribe button. Leave us your comment on what you think about these immortal beings and what you would like us to do for you in the next video. Thank you for watching.